I'm Jocelyn Rios from Funimation, and this is One Piece at a Time. I'm your host and a social media producer. And in celebration of the One Piece anime's 20th anniversary, I'm watching the show for the first time, and every week, a seasoned fan rewatching the series will join me in exploring each episode following the Merry Route binge guide. So come on board on this adventure starting right now. So welcome back to One Piece at a Time. Today, MJ is helping us host again. Welcome back, MJ.
Hi, thank you, Jocelyn. I am back with less notes than last week. Which is a good thing. I don't know if people might think it's a bad thing, but I had a lot of notes.
I'm sure everybody enjoyed your notes. So the last podcast episode, which was episode 23, we went through episodes 176 through 183. And a lot of stuff happened.
Yes.
Like Zoro fought Ohm. Luffy finally made it out of the cave he was in for the longest time. Thanks to Nami and Ganful and Aiza. Like, I feel if that hadn't happened, he would have been there like forever. He would have been just digested.
Honestly, I rewatched them. Yeah, it would have taken me a while.
Eneru is destroying everyone and everything, and he launched his arc to destroy all of Skypiea. But Luffy's there and he's ready, and it's going down.
And we ended with that episode where he's like about to attack. Eneru.
Yes. And that's where it ended. Yeah. So now on episode 24, we're going to go through episodes 184 through 191, where Eneru's plan continues to advance, but Luffy is like super relentless, like on his effort to stop him.
Yeah.
And now we're going to figure out why.
Yes.
Episode 184. Luffy falls, Eneru's judgment, and Nami's wish.
Luffy falls.
So this episode starts where we left off, like the arc Maxim is taking off, and Eneru's still alive.
So we had ended where like he was like, oh no, he's gonna attack, and then so Luffy I think does the Gum Gum Bazooka, and then Eneru falls over, and then Nami's like he got him, but then you're right, he's still alive.
He's still alive. No. I feel like this happens a lot where like we get like this final showdown and then this final showdown goes on like forever.
It's true. Or like there's sometimes, I mean, the enemy, it's Eneru. He's going to be tough to defeat.
That's true.
And then I think like, for example, Ohm, I think I commented in the last podcast episode that was like, oh, in a way it felt like it was easier than maybe I'm used to right now, because I watch simulcast and I've seen a lot of battles. But I mean, he's a tough enemy.
Yeah. So the arc is approaching Skytown, and the Sky people are trying to evacuate.
Is it called Skytown?
I don't know. I thought that's what it was.
I thought it was Angel Town. So that's where the Skypians live, right? Where they're evacuating. Yeah.
Interesting. So, and then something happens that I really like the Sky people go and warn the Shandorians. Like
they're like, we have to tell them.
Yeah, we have to tell them that everything's just gonna be destroyed, so they don't just leave them there. So I like that because I feel like it gives an example of how even though these people are at conflict, that doesn't mean that everybody is essentially bad or that they essentially just hate each other as people, like, personally.
Yeah, like Konis, they saved Aiza when she was about to get attacked and drowned.
Yeah, true.
And by the way, I did check the subs again, and they are Shandians in the sub. So I think the uncut has Shandorians. But yeah, so we have that brief moment with the Angel Town, but then we go back to the ship. I thought this was pretty simple but clever. It's like Eneru took gold and just made this huge ball like on like Luffy's arm, and then he shoves him off the boat, and then Luffy falls. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Luffy,
it's so heavy too,
and it's in the sky. He's just gonna fall.
And Luffy tries to like prevent it. Like he really tries carrying the ball from the ship, but it's so heavy. It's like a pure gold, big ass ball of gold.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
and honestly, he couldn't have made a ball that big unless like you could stretch because your arm isn't. Well, it'd be weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he wasn't stretchy, like his arm would have just like been yanked off.
Yeah, because
it's so heavy. I feel that.
I'm like trying to imagine this huge ball on my arm.
Feel like the pool on your hand.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, he throws the ball goal down
Luffy goes
overboard.
with it.
Yeah, and Luffy goes with it. And then Eneru is bringing his judgment on Aiza and Pierre.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that? I thought they weren't going to survive. I was like, oh no, the little girl is dead.
Yeah, no, same. I mean, well, okay, originally, right? I knew they were going to survive, but it was God's judgment, El Thor.
Is that what it's called?
I think it's El Thor.
El Thor? Because of lightning? That makes sense. Like Thor, Lord of Lightning? I don't know.
I don't know. I wrote it down in my notes.
And then my favorite part of this episode begins.
So, like, we end with, like, you know, that happening, and then Luffy has fallen off, and then we go back to the Mary, because there's always a lot of things happening in One Piece.
At the same time.
Yeah, I know. Like, Sanji is talking, or, like, he's even smoking. Like, you can see, right?
So,
and
yeah.
But he's talking, so I'm like, oh, is he awake? But actually, he's just, like, sleep talking and talking about whatever he's dreaming with Nami, right? I think he was like, oh, I'm in this paradise place with Nami, I'm so happy. And then what is it, he hugs
Usopp's hand and
he wakes
up and realizes
like,
it's Usopp.
Yeah. And then so he's like, wait, where's Nami-san? And then he leaves and looks around the ship, because, you know, the last thing he remembers is Nami and also Eneru. And so he looks around outside, and he's his detector. So he's like, he sees the ship, like, arc Maxim, like, in the sky. I don't know what this detector is called, or like how he can, but like you see the anime like zoom.
Yeah, it's like a love. I call it a love camera.
It's a love camera
because it has like a little heart and it's like pink. Like the camera.
Yeah. So like the sound effect was like meroing, and like Sanji says meroing like every time he has like the heart eyes.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I don't know. I feel like it's more like a sound effect.
In the dub, he doesn't say anything.
Oh, he doesn't say anything.
He always says like, "Oh, Nami dear" or something like that.
Wait, so like when it's zooming into Nami, there's nothing.
He's just like looking for Nami.
It's like, you know how like when it zooms in, like it's like zooms, and he sees Nami?
I remember.
Okay.
If there's like an actual sound effect.
I wonder
what it is.
Because I don't usually watch the dub. I don't know if it's like a Nami detector, a love detector.
How does it work?
Lady detector.
Right. Would it work for any lady if it wasn't Nami on the ship?
Yeah. What about Robin, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's I would like to know that. I bet it would if it was Robin too.
I haven't really studied Sanji in detail, but I'm going to start now. It's a weird time for me to start now, but whatever. I'll try to look into meroing too, because that's the thing with Sanji, meroing. So Sanji obviously is like, oh no, Nami-san's in that ship, I have to rescue her because, you know, she's with Eneru. And then Usopp wakes up. But then Usopp also, the last thing he remembers is Eneru attacking them.
Yeah.
So he freaks out and he's like hiding, and then Sanji's like, dude.
No way.
Yeah. And I thought this was interesting because I think Eneru was trying to still recruit her, right? And be like, join me to go to this like
for some reason he's still trying to convince her.
I think just like, of course this is what you want. Why would you not want this? Like, I'm giving you this honor, right? You are one of the chosen one. So Nami always wants gold, but she's like, you know, I don't want what you're offering. If I don't have everyone, it's not meaningful. What's the fun in being like alone?
Yeah, that was surprising a little bit for me.
Yeah,
because Nami's, you know, all about the treasure. But I have to give it to her that when it comes down, you know, to business, like she'll recognize that ultimately friendship is more important.
Of course, she likes money, but like, you know, I mean, of course, you know how
money's
she
number
saved her
2.
Yeah, very close,
super maybe
close.
1.5,
almost tied together. Of course, there's probably that fear that even if she joined, and it might be like Arlong, where she's like always in fear.
That's true. I didn't even.
I think she's braver, definitely, right? And then there's a bigger like with Arlong, it was more like I have to save my town, and I'm also like she can't defeat him. With this case with Eneru, I think one is I don't want to leave my crew. And of course, she probably does feel like I can't beat him, but I feel like what I treasure is not being in this like promised land or whatever. So
Yeah.
it might have shifted.
Temporarily.
Maybe. And then so they're arguing there. I mean, she's like refusing, and then Konisu comes back to Mary because she's like, I need to guide them out of Skypia so they
Yeah.
can survive. But then she's like, wait, where are the guys? And then I thought this was cute. Like, she's like, Sue, where are the guys?
Oh, yes. And Sue starts making like the whole...
Like, she acts out.
She acts out exactly what happened, and she starts acting like them. And then we have like a little subtitle
of like what Sue's trying to
what
say.
she's trying to say. It's hilarious. And she understands Connie,
Yeah,
sorta.
I was like, Konisu understood. Good for her. I mean, they've been, I guess, together for a
I
while.
wish my dog communicated with me that way. Like
Acted out.
Yeah,
Scenes.
just act it out and let me know what's wrong, girl.
That would be helpful if we could communicate with animals through their
That way, yeah.
Sanji and Usopp had left the ship. Even though I'm like, really, you were electrocuted? Like, how are you?
Right.
But anyway, they're running and they're
They
like,
didn't even think about it. They were like,
well,
let's
Usopp-
figure out where the rest of the people are.
I don't know. Usopp might have
Come up with a plan.
Yeah, they didn't think about that. Sanji's like, no, gotta rescue Nami.
My dear Nami.
And then, yeah. And then Usopp, I mean, obviously they're both working. Well, Sanji drags along Usopp. He gotta save Nami. And then Usopp has that belt hook thingy.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Usopp. I love it.
No, he was like, I think what he did was he first offered it to Sanji. Right?
Yeah.
He was like, you can borrow this if you want. And he's like trying to get out of it. But then, Usopp has to do
Usopp.
it. Yeah. And then Sanji's like climbing it because so they used a hook to hook onto that ship. That thing was really long.
Yes.
Like
super long. I wonder where all the rope is stored.
it's a special rope that takes minimal space. I don't know. That's very strong. And so they hook it and like you can see Sanji climbing while Usopp's like dangling. And so like we can see that they're trying to get to Nami, and then actually this is like basically where the episode ends. And we see Nami's like still defying Eneru, and I like that she was like, Luffy, I'm gonna borrow courage from you to
Yes.
like stand up against Eneru.
Yeah, because at this point she doesn't even know what's happening with
She
Luffy.
doesn't.
She just fell
Yeah.
overboard. Now she's by herself again. So,
But
yeah, that's
she
really brave.
believes, and she believes in her crew, and she wants to stand up for like to
What they
be with
believe
them.
in, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. For all of them to be together again. And we have a new ending.
Yeah, so it was a new ending. So in Japanese it's called Tsukito Taiyo, which means moon and sun.
Oh, that's
What do
why
you
it's
think?
that's why it's because it starts like in the moonlight
yeah.
and whatnot. I like it. I've come to a part in the series where all of these endings are sort of mashed up together in my head. So sometimes I can't, like, if you tell me right now how this song goes, I have no idea. But then when I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah. They're all mashed in my mind.
I'm at the point where I only remember this because I was rewatching it. But yes, all the songs mixed together in my head too. And it's hard to keep the endings and openings separate personally. And then also, I think the timing when like new openings and new endings are added is like not at the same time.
Yeah, it's different.
So then that makes it a bit harder too.
Yeah. Also, the endings change pretty quickly, I feel.
Yeah.
Like more frequently than the openings. So I'm pretty sure we've had, I think, 3 or 4 openings. We had a lot of endings.
I do enjoy these because I think it's been previously mentioned that currently in the simulcast, which, you'll get there.
Spoilers.
There's no ending. I forget at which point.
Yes, we had mentioned it before, that there's some point where the endings are done.
I'm getting used to the current opening.
The Bon Voyage.
The simulcast one, which you haven't heard yet.
Oh, yes. The new one, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I am getting used to Bon Voyage still.
I like Bon Voyage.
Yeah, I like it better than the last one, definitely.
Episode 185, The Two Awaken on the front lines of the Burning Love Rescue.
The Burning Love Rescue.
Yeah,
I love
so
this.
Sanji and Usopp are the two, I think. Wait, are the Anyway, so the Sanji is...
the two awaken, right? Because they woke up. That makes sense, I feel.
Yeah. And then Sanji is the burning love, I imagine. So they're on the ship, and then Eneru, I think, detects it. Oh, by the way, I did go back, and you know how I mentioned that he has mantra, but then he also can hear?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's exactly radio waves, but it's definitely waves. Some kind of waves that he can the impulses.
Yeah, sort of like a
Yeah.
raider, maybe.
So
Interesting.
he does have that. But so he texts them, and then
Yes.
Sanji.
Yes. Then Sanji. Usopp's like still afraid, obviously being Usopp, and he's like, considering what they're gonna be facing, and Sanji's like, for Nami, I will gladly give up your life. And I thought he was gonna say that he was gonna give his own life.
Yeah, same. When I first watched it, that's why it's like funny to watch it again. I was like, I didn't remember he said that. I didn't remember, so I also was like, is he gonna say his life? And I was like, but I feel like there was something else. And yeah. So he was like, I'll give up.
Usopp's like, wait, what? That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, so they're on that ship trying to get to Nami, and then Nami's like considering going overboard. Yeah.
Which I think it's a little crazy. I mean, it's so high up there.
Yeah, I mean, is she thinking it? I mean, it is One Piece. People have fallen and people have survived, but
True.
I mean, it's anime. She's probably like, I'll probably survive. Maybe.
Yeah, she's considering all of her options.
Like,
definitely.
trees, clouds, or maybe she's like, I'd rather risk dying than staying with Eneru. While she's debating that, Sanji and Usopp are in the ship just running around. And there's like all these huge gears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go inside the ship trying to get to the upper deck. Yeah, we see like all how the ship sort of works, and it's super complicated with all these gears and pistons.
It took like 6 years for that to be
that's
created.
pretty impressive technology.
I think so.
Honestly.
For that, yeah, well.
And in the sky, I'm pretty sure it's hard to get all those materials.
Technology is always interesting in One Piece because some things are like, oh wow, that kind of thing exists, but then some other things are not as like developed as in our modern world.
Exactly.
But I think there's a model figure of the Arc Maxim.
Yeah.
So you know how like you can build models of like Gundams and stuff like that. We actually did a live stream of the Sunny a while
Putting
back.
it together. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nice.
But I think there is one of Maxim.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Be interesting to look that up. And if you're an engineer and you can make one, like
Unreal. I
like how it works.
Scale.
Yeah.
Of the
no, I mean like the
working.
blueprint. Yeah, the blueprint displaying how it works and all that. We truly appreciate it.
And so, so while they're exploring the insides of the ship, Robin, Choppa, and Zoro below. Okay, first thing I saw wasn't it Zoro? The first thing we saw was Zoro. Like it was feet. Like Robin had grown like feet out of Zoro and walked.
Oh yes, yes, because she was carrying Chopper and she was trying to move all of them together.
So I had forgotten that moment, so I was like, oh gosh, I forgot this.
I had to go back because I was watching it and I'm taking notes for the podcast. So I looked down on my computer to take a note, and when I look up, I see like these tiny hands.
Was it hands or feet?
I don't remember. I think it was it feet? I thought it was hands. I don't know. Maybe it could have been feet.
And it was Zoro and Wiper.
Exactly.
Both moving. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, like caterpillars. Weird human caterpillars. And I'm like, wait, what is happening? So I had to like go back.
It was funny. I liked it. I was like,
Robin.
yeah.
I like that Robin knows how to use her power.
Yeah.
Like she uses it in the most convenient ways always.
And it's helpful for like fighting and also her like being an archaeologist.
Mm-hmm. And for simple stuff too, like helping people out, like, hey, don't fall.
Yeah. Like I just always remember when she's like excavating through this Skypia, she cut out that block of cloud and then she used her hands to like just bring it out of that ditch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they're, I guess, alive. And then we used to go back to Luffy, who had fallen, and also Isa and Pierre, who technically received judgment from Eneru.
And ended up there too.
They're okay.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yes, they're okay.
They're not at the same place. They're somewhere else, but they're alive.
Okay.
And so, like, we see that they're not dead, which, I mean, not surprised. And then Usopp gets to the deck.
Yes. And he gets there first. I was like, wait, how did you get there first? I'm like, okay. We figure out later why, but yes.
Or we think we know why. But Usopp opens the door and he's like, oh, wait, I'm the first one. Sanji's not here yet. And he shuts the door again. Because he's like, I'm not ready to face Eneru. It wasn't my idea anyway.
I came here for support.
But then, like, obviously he comes out because, like, Nami's like, help me. And then both of them are like, save me. Like, they're like...
They're normals. Right?
That's they're like how I would react. Yeah,
that's how I would react too. I would be like,
never mind, I don't have the power.
I'll be down here if you need me. Just let me know when he gets here.
Yeah, and so, but they are like, okay, well, have to deal with what we have now, and then they see the waiver and like, okay, maybe we can escape with the waiver.
Yes. Yeah, so they're gonna try and make a move for the waiver. I'm still not sure that this is a great idea, jumping off of a ship.
But at least they have a waiver now.
Yeah, at least, I mean, it's an idea, you know. They need to do something, I guess. Usopp distracts Eneru while Nami can make the run for the waiver, and he gets electrocuted again. Poor Usopp.
What was it? When the scene when he says he'll distract it? I don't remember, but I just remember him like he goes too far and doing something, and then he hits his head against the ship, and there's this huge bump, and then I think he says, "I'll distract them," and then his distraction plan, like I think so in the sub he called it Usopp spell. And what he does is he just talks about all these painful experiences, so you cringe, and Nami's like, that sounds painful, and then Usopp's like, cover your ears.
What is it that he says? He says something about nails.
Yeah, like there's I think like a paper cut on the knuckle or something. No. I was like, I guess that could work.
Usopp's methodologies are curious.
Methods, yeah. Sometimes they work.
Sometimes they work. I mean,
it worked on Nami.
Rubber Band of Doom worked that time, at least for a few seconds.
He's very innovative. I like it. Yeah, definitely. You know, gotta work with like his brains. And then he keeps getting electrocuted, and then Nami's like, "Oh, I gotta save him," but then Eneru is about to attack them still, right?
Yes.
And then finally,
Nami's like, "Take my hand, Usopp," and Eneru's gonna attack them. As Nami's about to reach Usopp, but then Sanji appears as always in the you know, dashing when he's most desperately needed. And he steps in, like I think he kicks I don't remember if he kicked
I think he kicked Usopp out of the way. So because what happened was when Nami couldn't grab him because I think Eneru gets in the way, and so like she missed, but then like Sanji kicks Usopp out of the way to Nami, and then
he steps in to where he's gonna get hit, right? He gets electrocuted, but he's okay for a few seconds, and it looks so badass because it's like, you know, just stepping in, take the hit. Sanji, the arc starts like failing.
Something is happening with
so he tells Eneru like, get ready to cry, at least in the dub.
I don't know what he said.
And then he like faints or something. Eneru figures out that he trampled with it. And he messed it up.
And it makes sense. He took longer.
That's why he took longer. He was being smart. So, moving on to episode 186, Capriccio for Despair, the impending doom of Sky Island. We start right where we left off. Sanji was the MVP again, saves everybody, being smart. And then I was like, I messed this up, and he goes below deck to try and see what he did and fix it.
But the ship was okay. Or like, well, technically it hasn't like dropped out of sky.
The ship is still working. It's like, just sort of failing. You know, like when your motor is giving out or something. And immediately we see Usopp come back on the ship. And I was worried. I was like, poor Sanji, now he's the one who's alone with Eneru. What's going to happen to him? These guys are going to fall down. But no, Usopp stayed like a good friend, and he goes back for Sanji. Which I appreciate, because Usopp's a coward, basically.
But I know, but of course we all know Usopp is a Straw Hat member. He will save, and he, you know, dearly treasures his nakama. So he does grab Sanji, and then he's like, okay, now we'll leave. And then he like hooks his thing on that ship, like the hook, and jumps off. But I think jumps too far. And he's like, no, and I'm gonna crash. And then like he stops right where his nose like touches a leaf, and then bounces right back up. And it's like, oh, I forgot to unhook. Unhooks and then falls into the clouds.
Luckily for him.
That's true.
And then Nami finds them.
She got done with the waiver.
She figures that the others must be like on the level below them, and so she's got it in her head they should all meet and just try to leave because I mean, it's, and everything, right? Everything is getting destroyed. They clearly can't beat this guy. I think she's got the right idea.
Same. I mean, Nami always wants to avoid problems she doesn't need to address, right? Which makes sense. Which I think it's also constant. Like, I feel they get into these messes because they're dragged into them. Or like Luffy drags them into it.
Or Luffy just decides that he just can't overlook something, and he's like, no, now we're gonna have to fix it, and everybody's like, okay.
Sometimes it's really silly, but a lot of times it was good that he did it. And then it fixes the ship.
Yeah, it had like a... he starts looking... this was funny to me because everything is like smoking and not working. And then suddenly he finds like this gear out of place and he just puts it back in and that's it.
He knows his ship inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He just shoved it back in. And then I think this is when he mentioned that actually why the ship was still fine. I think there was like technology that was keeping it afloat while it was like the other things were failing.
It had like a reserve technology.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's very smart.
Yeah. And so Luffy, Aiza, and they're all alive. They're like running around again. It reminds me of when Luffy and Aiza and Pierre were together trying to find Eneru and Nami.
Yes.
But this time Luffy has this huge ball. And like he runs and then like there's that point when he trips or something and he's rolling with the ball.
Yeah, exactly. He's not measuring, he's not taking into consideration
the huge
ball that like he's dragging.
I think it was like you had to turn or something like that and or like stop or whatever. And then Luffy's like, oh, I got it. And then he grabs a brick, but it doesn't work because
it's so heavy.
But and also Pierre's out unconscious.
Yeah.
And so Aiza is dragging.
Yeah, Aiza's dragging. Poor Pierre.
I mean, he doesn't know.
I mean, good for him. He's been dragging people all this time, carrying them around.
Flying them.
He needs some help too.
Well, I don't know if Aiza's just like dragging him though.
Yeah. I mean, she's a little girl. I bet she can't just carry him.
And so they head back to where I think they left them or wherever they think Robin and the others still are. And then they're like, oh, they're not there anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, we saw Robin moving everyone earlier. And so, but Luffy is like, okay, let's just basically climb up the giant jack because they still need to rescue Nami.
Yeah, and he's carrying everybody. He like takes a ball, takes Aiza and Pierre and starts climbing. I don't know how he's got all this strength.
Okay, I mean, how is he climbing the giant jack?
I don't remember because like he's like with one. Yeah, he's basically running up giant jack. Yeah. And he's dragging the ball,
the beanstalk.
Yeah,
like at least from the tail, it's a beanstalk. But he does see Robin, drops him off. So Robin like uses her powers, and just to know, I appreciate when Aiza is shocked every time she sees a power.
Yes,
because she's like, what like her arms or limbs, and I'm like, and I like she reacted similarly when Luffy stretched out his arm, and also when Pierre did he turn into the horse?
Yes,
yeah, and I'm like normal reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
When someone it's like at first I was like, aren't you used to it? Like, there's all these crazy things happening, but you're right. It's hard to get used to something like that.
Yes, I also appreciate that she doesn't seem to know what a devil fruit is, so she just doesn't. Because up to this point, I feel like everybody, when sort of this power happens, everybody will go like, "Oh, he's got devil fruit powers." But I was like, "This is just weird,"
It's true. So I did note that. I was like, why is she shocked all the time? Oh well, that's normal. And so they're safe, right? And then but Luffy's still going up because Nami's still he thinks Nami's still up there.
Yeah.
And then Nami, Usopp, and Sanji make it back to Robin. So yay, they're reunited.
Yeah. And when they say that Luffy went up to Eneru, Usopp starts saying, "Oh no, if only I had been here to help, save these people." I'm like, really?
I mean, Usopp's great. And then so Nami's like, oh well, I'll go get Luffy, everyone else go back to the Mary, and then we'll escape. But Luffy's again running up this giant stalk, and I'm like, again, still like, how is he running up the stalk? But anyhow, he's doing it. The Shandorians, of course, are still leaving.
Oh, and Aiza's mom appears finally. This is the first time we see Aiza's mom this whole time, and she's super worried because Aiza's not here yet. And I'm like, this little girl has been running around by herself all this time, and now you're worried, lady? Like, I don't get it.
Maybe she was worried, but we just didn't know. She is the girl who's been collecting Varth, right? No, it's true. It's like,
yeah, it was weird to me. I was like, I don't know, man.
But if they hadn't included that, would you have been like, why is her family not worried about her?
I was wondering who her mom was since she first appeared, honestly. When she appeared and Wiper, and Wiper's like, I don't remember if it was Wiper or Karakimi is what his...
Katakiri? Is it? No.
Kamakiri. One of them sees her coming into the village and he's like, where were you and whatnot. And then there's this other girl, Lucky. She also sort of looking after her or whatever. And I'm like, well, where is your real mom? Like all these people are looking out for you. Where's your mom?
I don't think I thought that when I first watched it. I think I'm just used to, like, you know, children just exploring. I expected her guardians to be somewhere else.
I just thought that she was like,
or maybe she was
by herself and everybody just took care of her, I assumed. And then suddenly I see her mom and I'm like, oh, you have a mom.
Gotcha. And it's like, now you appear, like, worried about her.
So
Shandians are leaving.
Yeah, they're leaving.
Skypians are leaving.
Everybody's leaving.
And I thought this was funny because we saw the inspector or like the gatekeeper person again. And she's taking photos because supposedly there's a fee to leaving as well. There's a 2 billion XTAL per person departure fee.
Wow.
And so they're like, no time for that. You should be leaving too.
You should be leaving too. Haven't you heard what's happening? But yeah, but later we do see her. I was wondering if she stayed because we never see her get on a boat. But then later we see her on a boat.
Yeah, I think we do see her on a boat leaving. And it is destroying everything.
Yes, lightning is everywhere.
There's Mamaragan, I think is what he said.
Is that what he says? Time. I don't understand what he says.
I think these are just power moves. Like, are his move names. And then everyone's still escaping because obviously Skype is being destroyed. And then Luffy's still heading for the ship, I think for Nami. I mean, there's another big reason too. It's just getting, you know, we're still building up that climax, and Cornelius is like waiting. Where's everyone?
Yes, I really like that shot because we just see her just like, you know, just with her eyes closed, so everything around her is just going crazy, but she's like determined to stay there and help the others when they come back.
It's true.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. She's like, I need to help them.
Yeah, that's brave. Like, she could have just left.
It's true, yeah. I mean, we saw her also being brave when she spoke up at the Angel Town. And she's like, you have to leave. You.
She's determined to save as many people as possible. Yeah, so the climax gets all built up. And then the last we see is Luffy again just running up the beanstalk on his way to Eneru, and to be continued.
To be continued. Episode 187, led by Bell Sound, Tale of the Great Warrior and the Explorer.
Oh, I love this part.
Yes, we have almost like a flashback episode. So, and there's destroying things. He's still doing that.
Yes.
But we see Wiper, who actually starts remembering, like, because his goal was like to find Shandora and the bell, because when he was younger, he was told the story of Karugara's biggest regret. And we learn about the story from 400 years ago with Karugara's supposedly great friend.
Yes, so we get on this flashback, the Shandorian Great Warrior, who was friends with Noland. And so we get introduced to Noland, and he was like this badass Commodore and explorer who was, you know, going through the Grand Line with his crew. I think they were worried because they were running out of food or something. So. And he just jumps into the water. And then, just
defeats a big monster for food.
Yeah, he deep dives and just haunts this monster for food like it was, you know, regular fishing.
So it was like interesting the way it started where actually pirates are running away from an island. They're like, run away, escape. And then this huge ball like gets thrown at the ship. And I'm like, what? And then that's where we actually first see Karugara. And then we shift over to Mont Blanc, right? Mont Blanc Norando, which, you know, looks familiar.
Oh, with his descendant? Yeah, that's true. Oh, and his bun looks like a pastry. I feel like I want to eat his hair.
You know what Mont Blanc is, right?
No.
Mont Blanc is like the French, the French-inspired dessert. Like, Mont Blancs are really popular in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, it's made of
dessert?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes all of the sense, MJ. I did not know that.
I love Mont Blanc. It's like made with chestnut based.
Is it like a puffy pastry?
Yeah, it's Mont Blanc is French for white mountain or white mountaintop. And so it's supposed to kind of
it looks like a is it puffy? Is my real question.
So what happens is like usually it looks puffy. Yeah,
because it's like a meringue.
It's like it's not a meringue exactly because it's almost I don't know pastries enough, but like it's some kind of cream
that you just make into the shape.
So you like squeeze it out. I mean, the whole point. Now we're gonna have to look it up. We're distracted, but anyhow, so he looks similar to that descendant. You're right. He goes and attacks and get food for his crew. Did you notice on the sail? So the sail says
I don't know what it says.
LV.K.D.
Yes.
And then
what does that mean?
I mean, we'll find out later.
Okay.
But basically, it's the kingdom he's from.
No.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that meant.
Yeah, Rabuniru Okoku, which we'll discover later. Noland hears
the bell.
something here, and he's like, "Do you hear that?" And then everyone's like, else is like, "No." They follow what he hears, and then they find that island.
Yes. On this island, we see that there's people. And the Shandorians, or Shandians, depending on what you're watching. And they are hit by disease. Like, there's this, like, green sort of, like, fungus that's growing out of their skin, and it's killing people. I think it's the shaman or the chief. I felt like it was, like, the shaman, because they ask him, like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And he's like, let's sacrifice another maiden.
Yeah, offering her maiden.
And offer her to the gods so that they fix this. And meanwhile, we see that Noland and the crew
have landed
on the island, and they find a boy, one of the locals, and they see that he's got this disease on his arm that he's trying to, like, scrape off with a rock because he knows that he's gonna die from it, but they know what it is. I think Noland says go back to ship and get the supply of the medicine or whatnot, and they give it to the kid. They cure him.
I think it's called the Kinetsu plague, but they knew about it. I mean, that's just one boy.
Yeah, that's
like,
just one boy.
It's not the main, like, where the village is.
Yes.
And so back at the village, like, so there's a girl, like a young lady who's been chosen to be sacrificed, and they're in that, I think it's that same place that they first landed.
It's like the sacrificial
altar. And so she's like, if I can offer my life to save people, I gladly do it. But you can see, like, I mean, who's not gonna be scared?
Yeah, and her mom is super.
Yeah. And then the huge snake appears. So that's the god. They're offering to the giant snake, who's the god. As the giant snake is approaching, we'll find out her name later, but the Mont Blanc comes in.
Yes. I think he kills the snake, right?
He, like, slices.
He slices its throat before it can eat it, because he's, like, super mad. He's like, this won't fix anything, guys. Like, there's no need to have this poor girl eaten by a snake. Then Kagura gets super mad, and he comes in and comes to face the outsider, because what are you doing? You just killed our god.
Yep.
And then an interesting debate ensues about progress and tradition, and I think a little bit to entitlement, because it's like
on Mont Blanc's part.
Yeah, because I mean, I definitely understand where he's coming from, but I feel that Kagura does feel that he's entitled, because, like, what gives you the right to just come in here, interrupt our ritual, and kill our god? He
also doesn't have that context that he can cure the disease.
Exactly.
Right? He, like, suddenly they're doing this ritual to save their town.
Yeah.
And this foreigner comes in and slices their god. Yeah. Or, like, a form of their god. And then tells them they're doing things wrong for doing what they've done. Mont Blanc's like, give me time, I'll save your people. Like, I'll show you. You don't have to sacrifice anyone. And then if I don't save it, I don't find this cure, then you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
The episode ends actually with, I think he's stuck in it. There's an earthquake. He gets stuck in the ground. So Mont Blanc's stuck in this ground, and you see him, like, stuck in there, and then Kagura's, like, talking to him, because, like, he had a certain amount of time. Like, I think it was, like, the next sundown or something to find the
24
cure.
hours, technically.
Yeah. So, but if he's stuck in there, he's not going to be able to fulfill
and Kagura was super amused when he saw him. He was like, well, I guess the gods are punishing you.
And then that's where the episode ends. I wanted to know what you thought of this episode, the flashback, and, like, of this history.
I love it. I really like flashback episodes, because they
when you learn new things.
Yeah, because they give a lot of context and depth to the characters, I feel. Like, we've been hearing about this conflict between Shandorians and how Shandora went up to the sky, but now we get, like, and we heard about Noland being a liar and his descendant trying to figure that out.
Yes.
And then we get, like, this whole context.
Yeah, and then we have
us.
seen that statue of Kagura, right? The Great Warrior.
But we didn't meet him at any point until now. So I really love this, because I feel like it all brings it all together.
Yep. And it answers a lot of questions. I think when I watched it, I was like, oh, and then rewatching it now, I was like, yes, this is that rich history that was there. Yeah. And the answer to the mystery, kind of.
And then we figure out, like, that we'll see in the next episode. We see things that we've been seeing hints of, like Oda Sensei has been dropping all of this info.
I love everything. I love all the moments I have. Yeah. It's so fun. It's brilliant.
So now we have the podcast question that we asked on our social media on Facebook, One Piece Official, and Twitter at One Piece Anime. And we ask you, what did you think about the topic of tradition versus progress that Noland and Kagura raised on this episode? On Facebook from Rehab Abu Zahra, hopefully I said your name right, and he says, preserving heritage, customs, and traditions is a beautiful thing, but we must also keep pace with development. And the friendship was great. And I agree. There has to be a balance. It's super important, though, to be conscious of not imposing progress on other people, but also, trying to help them see things from another perspective. Like, for example, in this case where the health of people was in danger, progress was not necessarily a bad thing. But you also have to be respectful.
We say progress, but in a way it's just like technology.
Yeah,
right?
true.
So, because it's like, what does progress mean? But anyhow, we're not going down that line, but it's interesting because it's not only tradition versus like new technologies or progress, it's cultures, right? Because it would be different kind of if it was within one culture and there's like tradition versus the new, because that's also a thing.
Yeah.
But here we have the additional, like the cultural aspect where like two cultures are meeting. It's hard. It is a balance.
And I think Alexandra Louvet on Facebook agrees with you. She says, why would the abandonment of a tradition always be a progress? The abandonment of a tradition that contributed to the welfare of a population would be a regression, and to consider that all traditions are bad is caricatural and false.
Yes,
which is true.
Agreed, which is what I was saying by what does progress mean?
Which is true, and I feel that One Piece does a good job of not doing that. Like, I don't think what we're presenting here is that traditions are bad or are regression.
Or like there are things but there's always things to always be reconsidering in, I think, anything.
Yeah.
I see Mac Ruiz, I think, on Facebook. They say respect and tradition is they contradict each other, but everything turns when Nolan cuts. Oh, we haven't covered this yet, but basically, he cuts the trees. For this person, it was a lesson to respect sciences that was proven even if it takes disobeying traditions. So I think that is, we won't go into depth, but like it's kind of like when you get shots.
Yes, vaccines.
So there's vaccines. So I think there is that, right? So it's again a balance of like definitely tradition. There's a lot of traditions that, I mean, it takes into consideration everything, right? People, and then like the environment, like nature, etc., etc. But then you also do have science and then advancements from science that can greatly benefit people. Yeah, but you can't look at it alone.
Yes, exactly. It always has to have some kind of context for it to be helpful.
Yeah, I think it's hard because people like want to focus on one thing, because it's hard to work on something when you're thinking about all these other things. But the problem is most things have to be done in parallel, because everything like ties together.
Yes,
I think.
Agreed. And let's do one last one from One Piece Anime US.
So it must be a fan account.
Yeah, fan account for One Piece on Twitter. They say both serve their purpose, and while they may occasionally cause friction when directly challenging one another's beliefs, it is never a bad idea to be open to a new perspective. Sometimes the best way to overcome a problem is to view it through a different lens. Diversity is key.
Love it. Diversity is very important, like perspective.
Yeah, I agree. Those were all great answers, everybody. Thank you for sharing with us, and be on the lookout for next week's question on our Facebook, One Piece Official, and Twitter at One Piece Anime.
And don't forget, you can watch all One Piece anime episodes on Funimation.com/One Piece or the Funimation Now app, and check out our blog at funny.to/One Piece podcast for all the information on binge routes and other information about characters.
We got maps too in there, so check them out. So moving on to episode 188, Free from the spell, the Great Warrior sheds tears.
So we're back where Mont Blanc is stuck. And then like also it's like sundown. His crew is being like, the native people are making fun of them. They're like, messing with them because Noland's not back yet. And so that's when Mont Blanc and Kagura are talking.
Yes.
Because she's like, help me. I have the cure in my right hand.
And it's stuck in here.
It's like the bark of a tree, coconut tree.
And they're still arguing about all, what we talked about traditions. And they argue, but human lives are precious, is what they say. Ultimately, Kagura decides to kill the snake.
Was it now that he was like, Moose is my daughter, or was it the last episode?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it is this episode.
Like, yeah, so he was like, I don't want my people to die.
Yeah.
Like, the person we were going to sacrifice was my daughter.
Yeah.
That obviously ties into like, if he doesn't have to give anyone's life to save people, ultimately that's what they want. And so in a way they defy, like Kagura goes against his god because he wants to save the people.
Yeah. And the most important thing that he has to consider, and I think it helps Noland's case, is that you're going to kill this person, you're going to kill your daughter, and it's not going to work. It's not going to do anything.
I mean, they think it'll work, but you're right, they don't know. And so he helps him, and then it's great because Noland, what his cure is, it does work, right? So then they're like, hallelujah, like, and they celebrate.
Yes.
It just reminds me
of a party.
Yeah. It reminded me of like the scene with the Straw Hats and the wolves.
Yes.
Yeah. And like earlier in this arc, where they're just like partying around that big fire.
Yeah. So they celebrate that the village is saved, and we see a tiny snake.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, that's the god or the other giant snakes, like the first one. It's grandchild, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the first the ritual one was like
the ritual one was
the one.
Yeah.
And then he got
killed
cut,
that one.
And then there was another one that showed up, which was supposedly the child.
Yes.
And I guess this one's the grandchild. It's so tiny,
Generations.
or like it looks normal.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like a normal snake, but it's a baby snake. So as a reward for helping the village, the Shandorians take Noland and his crew into the Gold City.
Yeah.
And tell them they can take anything they want. And they're like super stoked, getting all the
his
stuff.
crew is definitely.
Super stoked.
I think Kagura was saying how this is the city or whatever that their ancestors had been protecting, right?
Yes.
And because of the poneglyph that we see.
He shows Noland, he's like, come here, man, I'm gonna show you what the real treasure is. And he shows Noland the poneglyph and tells him about how it holds history of humanity.
And there's also the Great Bell. The Grand Bell, I think they called it the Fire of Shandora.
Yes.
Shandora. And so in the City of Gold, this bell, I love this. They're like, they ring it to like be like, we are here.
Yes,
to their
I love
ancestors. And so like the bell ringing is the signal or like the marker so that ancestors can find their way back.
Yes.
I think.
And it also proclaims Shandora, like you said. So it helps guide their ancestors back, and also like a way to say to the world, we're here.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
I like the bell sound. Maybe I've gotten used to that idea of that bell and what it represents, but it feels very like majestic.
Yes.
And like in a way calming.
And then they're all friends now, and they seem very happy exchanging information.
They get the gold.
The
crew's like, yes, treasure.
Gold. They find a map of Jaya and sort of discover, we see like that old map that we've seen
with
before.
The skull.
Yeah.
Supposedly Shandora means like, what was it, left eye or something?
Right eye of the
right
skull.
Eye. Yeah. They find an eternal pose.
And Noland is also like discovering new species of plants and stuff. And then the villagers are
He's
also
a botanist, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the villagers are also benefiting from this exchange with all, learnings about medicine and stuff. But then suddenly, Noland and the guys did something that offended everybody.
Yeah. Because we see that they're just like talking, like the Shandians are talking amongst themselves about whatever they did.
Yes. Noland tries to talk to them to try and understand what they did. And Kagura straight up shoots him with a spear.
Well, okay, so what happened was they weren't talking, right? They were like, I want to know what I've done, but like they weren't talking, so they're like, okay, eventually we'll leave. And then so like they finish whatever they're doing and they're about to leave, I think. But then he's like, Noland is like, I can't leave it just this way.
Yeah.
And so I noticed a huge moon. It was like there was a shot where the entire screen was a moon. In the dark, in the middle of the night, he finds Kagura in that city of gold, right? And he's like, talk to me, let's talk. I don't want to depart these ways because they had such a great friendship.
Yeah.
That's when Kagura throws the spear. Yeah, you're right. Shoots at him.
Yeah. And that's where it ends. And we don't know what's wrong. We don't know what they did.
Yeah. Because Nolan was, I think, going to leave, but then he still couldn't. He was like, no, I hate this feeling.
Yeah.
Like, what happened, this great friendship.
And I think he instructs the crew, like, prepare for leaving, and I'm going to go try to check what's happening.
Yeah. Episode 189, Eternal Friends. The vowed bell echoes across the mighty seas. Yeah, so we go back and the crew's leaving. They don't know what's happening. But we actually, I think Moose comes in.
Yeah.
So like Moose is the daughter who was going to be sacrificed earlier. She comes to explain and also try to understand because she's like, why did you do this? And the crew also doesn't know. Like, we don't
What
know.
did we do?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it wasn't over, right? There's
Yeah.
another conflict point because
Exactly.
there's so much you have to learn. There's so much to a culture. And so like, of course you can be friends, but then you always have to be mindful that everything might have a meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we find out.
Yes, we find out what they were mad about. It's because they have these kindred trees that they believe is where
The ancestors
where their
dwell.
ancestors dwell, right? And they are sacred. Nolan's crew cut them down, so that's why they were offended. I was
don't
like,
know.
oh no, like it's
We don't know
like
why, right?
And a Pandora
Yeah.
avatar situation where they, they have these sacred
Yeah,
trees
yeah.
that hold their ancestors'
Yeah.
voices, and
we know how important ancestors are.
Yes.
Like, right? They were already the bell, right? The bell that calls these ancestors. And if the bell calls them, like, where are they going to
Yeah, exactly.
live
That's
if
what they-
the trees are
exactly.
cut?
That's why they stopped also ringing the bell because the trees were cut. But then I don't know who this guy is from the crew. I'm not sure if it's a first mate or
don't
something.
remember either.
He feels super awful when she tells him this story. He's like, we didn't know that this was important to you, but he tells her also that they had a reason to do that. And
I think in defense of his captain, he was like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to think badly. Like, I understand that, but I have to tell you because there's a good reason for this. I don't want you to think badly of your captain, which
Exactly.
is that the tree.
Exactly. And then he explains that the forest was sick, like the trees were sick, and that was what was infecting also people. And if they let the forest continue to get sick, then it would have spread through the whole island and kill everything on its way. So that's why they had to cut it down to just like stop the spread of the sickness, which is a great reason.
Yeah.
But we also find out that communication is key, especially when you're dealing with another culture. Like when I'm from a culture and you're from another one, we definitely have to be both conscious of keeping communication open.
But it's so hard
It is.
when you don't know,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
So, like, we
'Cause
can
you're not
say-
doing it on
Yeah, well,
purpose.
we can say, well, Kagura, they could have asked
Yeah, true.
why they cut down the trees, right? But then I think they might just not be used to that, like the technology, like
Yeah.
the medicine.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
have that knowledge.
It
so
goes
they didn't
both
even
ways,
like
I think.
they didn't even like think of it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
They didn't even think that might be a possibility because they haven't been exposed to it. And so that adds kind of to that comment earlier a fan made, diversifying perspective and like expanding your horizons, just learning more about the world. Because if there had been even a smaller situation, like sometime in their lives where a disease was connected to something religious or something like tree, like an experience they could build upon, but they just didn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel it goes both ways. Like, because they cut down their sacred trees and they didn't even think of asking, right? They're like, this is something that is just sacred. And there's no doubt in my mind that that is just a bad thing. And also, the other guys were like, these trees are sick. We obviously just cut them. And they didn't ask either.
Yeah.
So it's like...
No, definitely both ways. Yeah, communication is key, but when you don't know enough about what you need to communicate, that's also hard.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I think they tell the captain, but
Yes.
they tell Montblanc. But I mean, so ultimately Montblanc leaves without, resolving anything with
Yes.
Kagura. And so they leave, and he feels bad still. So I think he tells the crew, they leave all the gold.
Yeah,
And
they
the
leave
crew's
it.
like, sad.
Yeah.
But whatever. So, he's like, I understand we've cut down their treasured trees. We're going to leave the gold. In time, so Moose explains it to everyone back in the town and the village. And so Kagura like runs desperately. And also, I think the whole town feels bad.
Yeah, they all feel super bad. And like while Kagura tries to make it to the beach on time to let Nolan know, we're still friends. I'm sorry that this was a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
The people run to the bell to ring it for Noland to let him know also like this bell is still ringing and we're here.
Yes, because
still.
they stopped ringing it like 3 days ago
Yeah.
or something. And I think that's around the time they realized the Shandians were acting differently. That signaled to them, actually, maybe that friendship again, like they were still okay.
Yeah, they were still okay. And I also think it was like a way to let them know that they could come back. Like, we're here, you can find us, right?
Which I was like, oh my gosh, I love that moment. And then
me too.
when Kagura makes it, and like he's like shouting, right? And he's like, come again, we will be waiting for you. Oh. So like, I mean, I'm just like getting shivers again, but like we get that context, right? And you see how it ended. They were about to depart ways as enemies, and they might not have like with this misunderstanding, miscommunication. In a way, it got like resolved where he was saying, "Hey, come back," but at the same time, there was that time period where they were at odds, right?
Yeah.
It would have been nice. They're like, come back again. Let us celebrate again. Like, forgive us for this, on both sides, like the things that we did. And so Noland gets back. I think 5 years later, he reports the gold to his, king, and the kingdom knows about Noland's adventure. And then 5 years later, Marie-Joie grants permission to enter Grand Line. And I wrote this down because I don't know if you've encountered the word Marie-Joie before.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. But that's really relevant right now in simulcast. I was like, oh, Marie-Joie up here is this far. I mean, it makes sense because it's part of the government that we know about it. So they get permission to enter the Grand Line. And so they start for going to that island because, Noland wants to go back. And I mean, the king probably wants that gold.
Yeah.
But then we see that actually 1 year before they arrive at the island, the huge, the knock-up stream?
Yeah.
Like shoots up the island into the sky.
Yes, that's when the thing happened that we've been hearing about all this time. And that's how Noland became a liar.
Yeah, like, because he wasn't lying.
He wasn't lying,
it's like perfect timing, right? Of
Yeah.
course, like before they land, like the islands, it happens to be like knocked, shot up into the sky, into the clouds by this stream.
And so Noland, to everybody else, he lied and he gets executed for it.
Yeah.
Which is super sad.
It is sad. Everyone's like, oh, he was acting like a hero, but he was lying.
Yeah.
So in a way, I guess they were disappointed. And it's hard to believe if the island is not there. And you wouldn't think that it randomly got shot up into the sky.
Exactly. Yeah, and Noland's got no explanation for it either.
Yeah, he doesn't either. He's
know.
Like, where are you? Okay, and then of course there's like, it ends with him executed and they never
see each other again.
They don't.
And then we see like the other perspective.
With the
Shandora lands on Giant Jack, and the current god declares it holy and his. That's Shandorians start fighting, and this moment really wrecked my heart. That Kagura is fighting these people who are trying to take over his land, and at the same time he's just thinking about Noland, like. Oh my God.
Not finding him?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to find us now.
How they ended, and yes. And
made me really want to cry.
It was really sad. I mean, there's a lot of parallels again to Real World too, but it was interesting when that, Skypian like leader, God person, like I am God, this land is mine, came to Shandora. Kagura was like, yeah, right, you're not the God, and then like attacks it. So there's that clash of religion too.
Immediate.
Yeah. We find out finally what the greatest regret is of this great warrior Kagura, and then we finally learn what Wiper has been trying to do is fulfill that, like try to fix that regret, not getting like that message across to his great friend.
Yeah. Oh, so sad. And then we go back to the present, and Eneru's still going crazy on everything.
Yeah.
Destroying everything, and Luffy's still trying to run up the vine, and Nami's still trying to catch up to him, and to be continued.
Yeah, this was
a great
episode.
Yes, it was a great few episodes learning the story.
Yeah, I mean, again, my heart. And for all you collectors out there, Adventure of Nebulandia is available now on Blu-ray and DVD, so you can watch it dubbed for the first time. It includes an exclusive interview with English voice actors. Episode of East Blue is now up for pre-order on Blu-ray and DVD. It'll be coming out September 24th, close to the anime's 20th anniversary. The TV special is dubbed for the first time, and there's a special documentary featuring English cast and Funimation staff. So check it out. These and all the episodes we talk about are available on home video at the Funimation shop on our website. So be sure to check out the home video and add One Piece to your shelf. Episode 190, Angel Island Obliterated, the horror of Raigo's advent.
The horror of all that lightning.
I mean, this whole thing is already a horror.
It is horror.
With who they believed as God destroying their land.
Exactly.
And they have to leave. Not only like Skypiea, but they have to go
Ruthless
to
God.
like this new world where they have nothing.
No idea.
Yeah.
So we go back to Robin, and she figures the bell is up there, and that's where Eneru's going. And that's where Luffy's going on also.
Yeah, Neru keeps going up to that vine, trying to get that bell. Luffy still running up with that huge ball.
Yeah, and he makes it, finally.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Or like at least it looks like where the former god used to be, right? Like the ruins of it. What happens once Eneru reaches that top, he cuts off the stalk.
Yeah, he cuts off the top of the stalk, and Luffy falls down with it. And the crew below sees it fall, right?
Yeah. They're figuring out all these things, and Viper wants to get to the bell.
Yeah, later we figure, like, Zoro and Robin know what Luffy's plan is, and that's when we find out about his plans.
Yeah, because we, like, of course he was trying to go back for Nami too, but they're like, actually it's more than that. I love Luffy. Like, like moments like this when he mentions why he has to go to the bell or why he has to go to the top.
Yeah, I really like that Nami was the one who was like, I'll take it. I'll bring him back. Because I feel like Nami's the only one who can get really through to Luffy, and she's ultimately the one who can either convince him, Luffy, this is what we need to do, or be like, okay, Luffy, we're gonna
do it.
We're gonna do it.
If they're going to do it, she'll help him figure it out, right?
I feel ultimately she's the one who almost always makes that decision.
She
like
can
with
help strategize.
Like with the dragon on the Apis arc, she was like, how are we gonna get that dragon to the place? And then ultimately she's like, okay, Luffy, I'll help you.
I love that. You know, like Luffy's like the heart, the soul almost of the crew. I mean, that's why they recognize him as a leader, right? There's a reason why they acknowledge him as a leader. There are moments when Nami's like, yeah, he's our leader. Like in the cave.
Yeah.
the stomach.
The cave. That was a snake.
But Nami catches up with Luffy, and then Luffy's like, you saw it right, it wasn't a lie, that the bell wasn't a lie, that this island wasn't a lie.
It wasn't a lie.
And if I ring that bell, I can help tell like the descendant
cricket and the monkey guys I can help them stop searching for it, because now they'll know that it's real. So all he was thinking about all this time trying to get to that bell was about those three guys trying to prove if this was real or not. That hit me. I was like, Luffy, of course. This is not just about beating Eneru or getting the bell away from Eneru for you. This is about other people and their dreams and their treasure, as always.
Again, I love Luffy. There's times, of course, everyone's like, Luffy, what are you doing? But at this point, he doesn't know still, like, that whole story with Karagara.
Yeah, he doesn't know that part.
He doesn't. Yeah. So he's, like, going purely for his sake. For cricket.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he spent his whole life searching for that bell. The cricket told them about, like, them being, the tale, right? The liar, his ancestor being a liar. And then it's like, no, you and your ancestors were wrong. It was here. Of course, they don't know the whole Karagara part, but
the other part. So Zoro and Robin tell Viper like what Luffy's trying to do. So basically, it's redundant for him to also go and try to ring the bell.
Viper wants to ring that bell or like fulfill that promise. And then so Luffy's still, but I mean, obviously Luffy's still trying because of this goal. And then he can't get on the ship. Like he tries so many times, and then like, you know, Eneru like kicks his hand off, and he has that huge ball still.
Yes, but he keeps trying. Like he falls and keeps going on. Yeah. He makes like a yo-yo, falls. Like but he's relentless. Like he just, and I think the episode ends with him just yelling that he's gonna ring that bell.
Yeah, it does. And I'm like, yeah, I believe in you, Luffy.
Do it. Thank God we have one more episode left. Episode 191, Knock Over Giant Jack, Last Hope for Escape.
So, like, from a distance, the Skypians, town people, I think are on the boats, and they're, like, watching Skype get destroyed. Even Heaven's Gate was destroyed.
Yeah.
So, like,
So
Eneru reaches the bell.
And Luffy's still trying to get to it, but we see that Eneru reached where the bell is. So it's all, this is the moment we're thinking, at least. And he takes a waiver to try and go up Giant Jack using the waiver.
Yeah, he takes it.
And obviously it doesn't work. And Nami is trying to figure it out.
I mean, he still has that huge ball.
Yeah, and he still has a huge ball, right? Now he's still trying to figure out, and she's like, how do we figure this out? And I feel for her. I'm like, do something, Nami.
Yeah. I mean, Eneru just wants that gold bell because it's like the treasure of Shandora.
Exactly. He just wants to be a jerk.
And also, like, Robin mentioned the poneglyph that might be on it, right? So Nami sends that leaf with that message.
She figures it out. She has a plan.
Yeah, she figures out a plan. And so she writes down, like, her plan because she needs the people down, like, below. And it's on this huge leaf, and just, like, the leaf floats down. Yeah. Honestly, I was surprised the leaf dropped down according to plan because I'm like, does it fall straight down like that?
What if it did like this?
A different path.
What if a current of air just took it?
But yay, the leaf made it to them. And on this leaf, you have, like, this compass thingy and, like, directions on, like, what she's thinking. I think when I first read, I didn't really get what she was saying.
But they figure it out pretty quickly. And it means to cut down the beanstalk and make it fall towards the west. Because her idea is to ride the falling beanstalk up towards the arc and where the bell is. So it's a pretty smart plan.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, like, shortcut.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so Zoro does it, right? He cuts out a slice, but it still doesn't go down.
No.
This is when we see the snake.
Oh, yes. Yes, we have a tiny flashback of the snake going with Noland and Kagura through the city of gold.
Was it here?
Guess I don't remember if it was here, but I think it comes back up here. Like, we've seen this before on
because she's crying. Yeah. I think what happened is she's crying, and then she hits her head against
the beanstalk.
The beanstalk too. Because so that tiny snake that we saw with back in the City of Gold with Noland, like Mont Blanc and Kagura, is most likely
this snake. Yeah.
This huge
It's this snake. It's the beaver snake. And it tries to help.
From like 400 years ago.
Yes, it's a 400-year-old snake.
Actually, do you remember that question you had in the last podcast episode? We were like, why is she like looking
for something? Yeah, while she's crying. And I never figured it out.
I think I just assumed it was because she finally found that City of Gold that she had spent time like with Kagura and
Noland.
And also she likes that bell.
Oh, so that's what she was looking for when she saw. I think when she saw herself that she was at the city, maybe she was looking for the bell.
Well, okay, no. What she did was like she looked around and then she cried out something. Right, she was making noises, and it was like, why is that snake making noises? And then like attacks it. But I thought that she was looking and being like, is this the City of Gold? And then she felt emotional.
Aw, that makes sense.
But she might also have been looking for the bell too, because that bell was important to her.
Yeah, because I feel like Noland or Kagura, whoever, when they were walking, they were like, "Come, what's her name?
I think it's Nola.
Come, Nola, let's ring the bell for whatever." And she was like super happy.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but I didn't even notice that up until now that you said it. That makes it even more
because
sad.
Like every time he went to ring it in the hopes that they'll come back, she would go with it.
Yeah. Aww. So the snake wasn't evil this whole time.
Years. Well, depends on what you call as evil. She's still like
try to eat everybody. Yeah. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
So Zoro ggets sapped then after cutting a chunk of the beanstalk. It doesn't fall. So Usopp steps up and starts making a bunch of moves. And this is, as always, like a piece of laughter in between this whole stressful situation.
I love it. And then, of course, you have Nola, who I think was accidental, but hits her head against the stalk because she's, like, I think she's crying. Like,
Yeah.
And then, so all these things. And then I think the last person who goes is Viper.
Yes.
With his rejectile. So he's already done it twice. And like even the second time was impressive because it supposedly would have destroyed his body.
Yeah.
And so he does it one last time, the third time, to bring down this huge stalk.
And he makes it happen. So now it's up to Nami and Luffy. And just before the episode ends, we just see like the giant beanstalk falling towards the arc and them just running on the waiver up the beanstalk, and it's over.
Yes.
And we don't know, will they make it?
They're still heading up the Great Jack. We're like, what happens?
I don't know.
It's a good ending.
It's a great ending, and that's where this podcast episode ends. No.
Any predictions?
I don't know. Like, I am out of predictions, and I feel like this happens whenever we're about to finish an arc.
Really?
I always have like a lot of predictions. Okay, so this is who's gonna win the battle, and this is what's gonna happen.
I mean,
and then as we reach the end, so many stuff has happened that I'm like, what else is going to happen? Like, I'm fresh out, and it happened with Alabasta too. I was like, I don't know what else is going to happen, guys. Like, we just had a 5-second countdown that lasted an episode.
Yeah. I remember that.
So,
I mean, it was a very emotional and like climactic scene.
yes, definitely. So I keep predicting.
And it ended so sad when like I forget his name, but he sacrificed himself and took to
yes.
the sky.
Pell.
Yes, Petter, yeah.
So I'm not going to try and guess what Oda Sensei has in store for the next episode, honestly.
Well, I mean, even Luffy versus Enitter.
Again, what's going to happen now?
It's true, like how does the battle
is he
happen?
going to
and then
finally
we
do
still
it?
have a lot of questions, like the Shandians and then the Skypians. How is there peace?
Exactly. Are they going to resolve their differences? We'll find out.
Yes. So we hope that you enjoyed this One Piece at a Time episode. Don't forget to check out the Funimation blog at funny.to/One Piece podcast, which we update constantly with new information and what you need to know for watching and following our route. And also head to our shop at funimation.com/shop and add One Piece home video to your collection.
And for all things One Piece, follow us on Facebook at One Piece Official and Twitter at One Piece Anime.
We want to thank everyone who helped us make this podcast happen.
Yes.
The creator of One Piece, Oda Sensei.
Thank you, Oda.
Toei Animation, the audio engineers,
Austin
and of
and
course, yes, Austin and Andrew. And of course, everyone joining us on this journey, all of you Nakama, Straw Hats out there listening, please rate this podcast wherever you're listening to it and share it with other One Piece fans.
Yes, the next One Piece at a Time will cover anime episodes 192 to 199. So be sure to watch on Funimation now, subbed or dubbed, and be ready. See ya.
Bye.